Right, so now that we've done our whole composition, it's probably time to do a bit of sort of mixing, mastering sort of thing. So that's basically what that is just balancing the volume of all our tracks, so the whole thing's starting to sound a bit nice. So what I might do is, just for starters, is like, let's just have a look. If I put my volumes back, I've already sort of started doing a little bit of mastering on this B section, my verse. If we have a look at it, the way it was sitting originally was somewhere around those kind of levels, and as it plays along, you can see that the bass is kind of hitting a little bit too hard, this one. Every so often those meters flick right to the side, and they're just hitting much too hard. So that means that instrument is too loud. The other thing as well is, like, maybe with the synth, I might want the synth to be louder, because that's my lead instrument. So if I start to pull this up, it'll also do the same thing. It'll start to really pull a little bit too hard into the red there. So what I recommend to students normally when they start doing this mixing process is actually instead pull all the volumes down and then hit play. And then just sort of start bringing instruments up one at a time, like for me, that drum beat, okay, that's sitting sort of all right about there. Bass, that can just sit a little bit underneath in the mix. My guitars probably come up to about there. And then melody, don't need too much on that, maybe about there. Or in fact, maybe I can swap those two around, have a bit more melody than my harmony or rhythm instrument. The guitar instrument is my harmony rhythm instrument. So that's one thing that you can do. Then I also encourage students to sort of go into this track settings button. So with track settings, then you can do a few more detailed things. So for example, you can adjust the volume here again, but then also you can adjust panning. Now generally for drums or beats and bass, you normally want them sitting in the center of the mix. But for example, you can see here for my electric guitar and my synth lead, I've sort of pulled them a little bit, and I'm talking about this panning button. The panning sort of allows you to mix the sound a little bit more in the left or right speakers or headphones. So that's not a bad thing to do as well. There are some other things, some other plugins, Master Effects and things like that students can go into. I don't really go into that too much at the moment. But there is one other very important thing that I wanted to show you, and that is a little bit of a thing called automation. I might do this on my A section. And what I want to happen in my A section is this afloat synth arpeggio, which sounds like this. I want this to basically just sort of creep in and gradually sort of come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of automation. So what I do is I just touch on the instrument, and a little menu, contextual menu comes up, and automation is what I want to choose. Now, very important, up in the top left-hand corner, you've got this this lock or unlock switch. Okay, so make sure you set it to unlock. Otherwise, you won't be able to actually do anything with it. And then you can put down these little buttons and set automation, right? So, for example, you could have you could have it sort of start soft and then gradually increase in volume like that. So now it'll sound something like. Right, so I got that. It's peaking a little bit at the end there, so maybe I'll just bring it down a little bit, and that's probably good like that. So after I've made my changes in automation, just so you know, I don't make any unnecessary, like unexpected changes. I'll just lock it back, and now I've got this little this sound that sort of will creep in nicely underneath. Okay, so let's hear it with all the other instruments playing at that time, and it'll sound something like this. Okay, so you can sort of hear that synth instrument sort of just slowly creeping in towards the end of that. All right, and that's just sort of a little bit of an introduction to how to mix and master the track.